The Russian sleep experiment. Myth, origin, and reality. The alleged study, the Russian sleep experiment, is a widely circulated story that claims Soviet researchers in the 1940s kept human subjects awake for 15 days using a gas-based stimulant. According to the tale, the subjects descended into madness, mutilated themselves, and ultimately died in gruesome ways. The story first appeared online in the early 2010s on websites dedicated to sharing horror fictional stories. Its chilling narrative and pseudo-historical setting quickly made it a viral urban legend. The truth, creepypasta, not history. Origins of the story. The Russian sleep experiment is not a historical event but a piece of internet horror fiction known as a creepypasta, fueling its spread across forums, social media, and YouTube. Why it became so believable? The narrative taps into primal fears about the limits of the human mind and the dangers of unchecked scientific experimentation. Several factors contributed to the story's believability and popularity. Historical plausibility. The Soviet era is often associated with secrecy and unethical scientific experiments, making the story's setting seem plausible to many readers. Psychological horror. The effects of extreme sleep deprivation in humans are well documented and can be severe, like the story. But her work involved puppies, not humans. Increased risk of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and metabolic disorders. She found that total sleep deprivation was fatal and caused severe brain damage in animals, which can be dangerous, especially when performing tasks that require attention. The most extreme documented effects are hallucinations, paranoia, and, in rare cases, temporary psychosis, but not the grotesque behaviors depicted in the story. There is no documented evidence that the Soviet Union conducted human sleep deprivation experiments in the 1940s resembling the events described in the Russian sleep experiment story. That originated as a creepypasta in the early 2010s and spread widely due to its compelling blend of horror, historical plausibility, and internet virality. Internet virality. The story's format as a creepypasta made it easy to share and adapt. Was it inspired by real Soviet sleep deprivation experiments? Actual Soviet and Russian sleep research. While Russian scientists have studied sleep deprivation, these studies did not involve the inhumane or fantastical elements described in the myth. No evidence of human experiments. Early Russian sleep research. Russian scientist Maridi conducted pioneering sleep deprivation studies in the late 19th century. Though it draws on real scientific concerns about the dangers of sleep deprivation, there is no record of any that match the extreme and gruesome details of the Russian sleep experiment narrative. Soviet research on sleep was more focused on physiological mechanisms and did not involve the kind of inhumane human experimentation described in the story. Soviet psychological research. While the Soviet Union did conduct various psychological and physiological experiments, what does science say about extreme sleep deprivation? While the Russian sleep experiment is fiction, cognitive impairment, sleep deprivation leads to unstable attention, memory loss, slower reaction times, and impaired learning. Psychological effects. Extended lack of sleep can cause mood swings, anxiety, depression, hallucinations, and even temporary psychosis. Physical health risks. Chronic sleep deprivation is linked to weakened immune function, microsleeps and accidents. Severely sleep-deprived individuals may experience involuntary However, there is no scientific evidence that sleep deprivation alone would cause people to violently mutilate themselves or develop superhuman strength, as described in the creepy conclusion. The Russian sleep experiment is a work of fiction, a modern urban legend. No evidence exists of real Soviet experiments matching the story's description. Extreme sleep deprivation is dangerous and can cause serious mental and physical health problems, but not the supernatural or hyperviolent outcomes described in the story. In summary, the Russian sleep experiment is a horrifying myth, not a historical fact.